Hi, this is Susan Phelan, and I have Paul Genesse here with me today. Hello, Paul. So nice to meet you.
Thank you, Susan. Nice to meet you, too.
And you have quite a number of books here. This one is called The Golden Cord, and I heard that this is a very well-selling fantasy book.
Yeah, it did really well for my publisher, 5-star. It went through 6 or 7 printings, and it was the best-selling fantasy novel that they ever had, so I was really, really excited about that. So,
And how many in the series?
There's a total of 5 in the Iron Dragon series, and the first 3 are out. The Golden Cord, The Dragon Hunters, and The Secret Empire recently came out, and there's 2 more books that I've already written, but I need to kind of rewrite and edit them.
Get them polished.
Yeah.
Tell us what this series is, and talk in particular, since sounds like it's a progressive series.
Yeah.
Talk about book 1 in particular.
Right, it's epic fantasy, and the 32-word pitch goes something like this: the golden cord. Some bonds can never be broken.
Ooh.
A hunter must leave behind the woman he loves, give up all hope of survival, as he's forced to guide his most hated enemies on a suicidal journey to the lair of the Dragon King.
Oh, you've got that down.
Yeah, it's not my first rodeo. So,
well,
yeah.
Thank you. I like it.
So it's epic fantasy, kind of in the tradition of maybe the dragon, sort of Dragonlance books or Terry Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of epic fantasy. With it has traditional elements, but I've put my own spin on it. So.
And it's an adult protagonist.
The protagonist is 20 years old.
Okay.
Library Journal gave me a really nice review. They said the book is for ages 12 and up.
Oh, okay.
The 10 and the 11-year-olds really dig it, and I love that, but there's violence and there's scary stuff. So,
and so it's still adult enough, and when we say adult, we don't mean adult.
Adult, right. Technically, adult means like 12, 13 and up. It's not a young adult novel. It's considered an adult fantasy.
Okay.
So 12-year-old and up should be fine.
All right, that sounds wonderful. Well, I know there's a lot of big ones, The Wheel of Time, that you have kids reading them, teens reading them, and yet many, many adults reading them as well.
Yeah.
So now you have some more books here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of these?
Yeah, well, I keep myself really super busy. So I've sold the novel series, and then I've sold about a dozen short stories to various publishers. DAW Books is the biggest one that I've sold to, like 6 or 7 stories to them. And then recently, with the paradigm kind of shifting in publishing, I decided that I wanted to put together an anthology of short stories with some friends. So I'm working with a publisher, and I'm serving as the editor, and I've done 4 volumes in the Crimson Pact demon-themed anthology series. So basically, people hunting demons, but it covers a lot of different genres. So it's there's urban fantasy and there's epic fantasy. There's a little bit of sci-fi, and
but the tie is the demon.
The demons and the demon hunting, and all bits of that. And the great news that I just received is that Volume 4 of the Crimson Pact series made the reading list for the World Horror Bram Stoker Awards, which is a great honor. It hasn't made the final ballot, which it probably won't, but just getting on that 25-book list was great.
Wonderful honor. I am so excited to hear about the amount of short stories in science fiction and fantasy, because there's people that love short stories, and yet they can be hard to find.
Yeah, they can be. The beauty about short stories, and what I'd like to convey to the viewers and everybody, is that it's hard to read 17 novels, but you pick up a collection of short stories by 17 different authors, and suddenly you've read all these amazing authors in the field that maybe you don't have time to read all their novels, but you get a nice taste, and you can see which authors you really connect with and what novel series you might want to look into. So I love short fiction. Short fiction is great, and you can learn to be a good writer for novels by writing short stories. It's a good testing ground, to try things out.
You don't have to carry as many balls as you do in a 300, 400-page tome.
Exactly. You can finish it. You can finish it in a couple of weeks, or even a week, or a few days, and you can move on. You can go to the next thing. Whereas a novel, if you're trying to write that, it takes forever. To generally write a novel, months if not years. For sure. So short stories, I recommend people write a lot of short stories
before they.
Yes, definitely. Write short stories, perfect parts of your craft, and then get into the novels. Although you could be working on the novel at the same time. but please write short stories.
Okay.
So
now we have, I know you've done editing.
yeah.
So our audience is readers, which includes writers. And you talked just now about perfecting your craft. What is one of your biggest tips for perfecting your craft for anybody who's thought about writing or is in that process?
The best tip I have is just to write a lot. There's an old saying that says you have to write 1 million words before it's any good. I disagree. I think it's more like 500,000. but everybody's different. But the point is, you can't run a marathon tomorrow if you haven't run. You've got to build up to it. You've got to train for it. So you've got to spend years literally writing. Most people do have to spend years practicing. There's no substitute for putting your little butt in the chair and typing a lot of words. If you think you're just going to write a great novel tomorrow with no training, it's not going to happen. So, and the other quick tip, your first drafts are going to be terrible. That's just how it is. That's just about everybody's first drafts are terrible.
I think that's the biggest thing that worries me in self-publishing is the people who write this first draft and they're so excited for writing that they've written a book, and it is an exciting thing.
Yeah.
But then they forget that it probably needs to be.
Yeah, they forget that writing the first draft is just the beginning, and that's the easy part. The hard part is actually rewriting it and editing it, and the magic happens with rewriting and editing. Generally, at 3-4 drafts is what you're going to need. It might be kind of good after the first draft. There might be some good stuff, but there's still going to be a lot wrong with it, even from the pros. There's still professional writers, I should say. They have to edit. They need an editor. They need to rewrite. So that's my best 2 things. Write a lot and then revise like crazy.
Okay. Great tips. I'm going to ask you one personal question before we close.
Okay.
I understand you have frogs.
Yeah. My wife Tammy got me into frogs after we got married 16 years ago, and now we collect various little frogs. And I have to admit, there's a lot of dragons too. But we have this kind of funny frog collection. So I have a picture of Tammy with like a bunch of stuffed animal frogs around her, and I kind of show that as, this is my wife and our kids.
Oh.
So there's like these giant stuffed animal frogs. I don't know.
Oh, how fun. Oh, they're stuffed.
Some of them are stuffed. Some of them are maybe real. Some of them are little poison dart tree frog models. You name it, we've got it. And everybody gives us frogs, so it's just crazy.
So they know now you're the person to give the frog to if they find a frog in a store.
The frogs go upstairs. The dragons go downstairs in my basement.
You don't want them to meet.
Well, dragons, they could,
Paul Genesse, so fun. No, it's not finesse.
It's Genesse
Sounds like
finesse. Exactly.
It's Genesse, Paul Genesse. Thank you. It's been so fun talking to you.
Thank you, Susan.
This is Susan Phelan for Utah Book Scene. Thanks for watching.